So as Rachel said, I am an international PGR in University of Glasgow. So maybe that's the reason that I'm going to talk about how my life was in the last few years as an international PGR in Glasgow. So the title of my today's talk is Life as an International PGR. So one thing I always ask myself, how far I have traveled to get a PhD degree. The answer is literally 8,101 kilometer. That's a crazy thing, right? I just traveled that to get a doctorate degree in front of my name. So this journey started in 2019 when I came here as a master's student in University of Dundee. So here, when I look into the globe, here the red country you see, it's my country, India, and the little green island, it's almost the other side of the world, which is United Kingdom. I traveled here to do my PhD. So now if you drive a bit deep into the map, here you see Kolkata, which is the city I am from, and now here in Glasgow, where I am doing my PhD. So throughout these years, I had a couple of different emotions, which is definitely very difficult to write down. But because I was wanted to give this talk, I was doing a little bit of research, and a little image came up in during my research of doing this talk. So this one is from the Kent State University in States, where they made this slide for their PGR. So here you see a little circle in the left hand side where the student sits inside the circle, and there are all small circles around the student. So the student is kind of, when we stay in our home country, we are kind of surrounded by our beloved families, friends, our own structure, social structure, our own kind of routine. We speak our own languages. But when we come to another country to do our research or studies, whatever, we kind of leave, not only leaving our country or our family, we are kind of leaving behind our life there, right? Because that's, we are quite used to it. So when you are here, you are kind of alone, coping up with some unforeseen incidents, with unknown faces. So I always ask myself how I was feeling on that time. Do I feel really homesick? Do I feel really lonely and missing my bestie? Or am I feeling very threatened on the time? The answer is yes, yes, yes. Yes, I do. And all of us, like as an international PGR, we kind of feel the kind of same thing. So here I try to sum up with kind of 4 challenges that we feel during our journey as an international PGR. And I'm quite sure there might be more other challenges, but I don't have much time to discuss all of those challenges. So here, the first one is the social challenges. The second one is the psychological challenges. The third one is the financial challenges. The fourth one is the academic challenge. And the last one is the discrimination. The most important thing I would like to mention is that all those 5 challenges have some detrimental effect on your academic experience, right? So the first one I will go through is the social challenges. So when someone asks me what kind of social challenges you faced when you first came here, the first thing came up in my mind is this cultural shock. So there is a big cultural difference between my country and here. And this is the first time when I was living alone, far from my friends and families. So I am the alone, only managing everything by myself. And in that situation, time to time, I used to feel very lonely, very isolated, very depressed. And the thing is how I coped up with all those ever-changing emotions. The first thing I think it's best is to involve yourself in different clubs and societies, make new friends. I know in University of Glasgow student research councils, they have different societies. You can join them. You can nurture what you like. And I used to volunteer for my department quite a few times in Glasgow Science Festival, in Mathstat Week Scotland, where it's a very good thing. You can make your network, and at the end of the day, you can kind of add those experience in your CV as well. The next thing is the language barrier. So some of us are coming from some countries where we don't have the English as our native language. On my time, I know the IELTS was the very basic thing that you have to pass, but nowadays I don't know, maybe they have changed the rule. But still, like after passing IELTS, you might be facing like you are not enough confident with your English speaking skills. In that case, you can take language courses. Like in my school of science and engineering, I know they have funding every semester where you can take a new language course, which is definitely not your native language. So here I have added two resources. You can check out those resources. It might be helpful. Another one is like in that was very true for my case. I was all because I did most of my studies in English in India, and in English is an official language in India, but the pronunciation is very different from here, because I think the Scottish pronunciation is a bit heavy, especially in the local peoples. So like if you go to a supermarket, or maybe if you want to talk to your plumber, it sometimes is very challenging to understand what they're saying. I think the best way is to communicate as much as you can. Communicate with the random people. You will be more used to with their accent, and at the end of the day, probably you will learn a bit more. Like you'll learn their colloquial terms they use in different situations. And the last one is the residential issue. Yeah, that's a very big problem in Glasgow. I think it's not for only for the international PGR. I think it's a very big problem for every PGR. But I think we are the vulnerable one, because they know we are the soft target for the scammers. They can scam you like in the name of giving house or something like that. So I think it's best to book, if you want to book a flat or something like that, just go for the official website. Do not believe anyone anonymous in the Facebook. It's definitely, you should not do that. The other one is a dietary issue. I included that because it's a very, I have some personal feelings on that, because I was more keen to take fresh veggies when I was in India. But when I came here, I realized that it's very hard to get that much varieties of veggies here. So you have to make some adjustment in your dietary plans. Okay. The next one is the psychological issue. So the first few months, it was very hard for me to staying alone, as I was saying in the last slide. So I was feeling very homesick time to time, feeling very lonely, and I was missing my home, my friends, all those old behaviors. And so I came up that I cannot suffer for all of the times, right? So the best thing is to, you can just, if you really feel you want to talk to them, just give a call, contact them in social media, and and other thing is like there are communities, like for Indians, I know they're an Indian community. You can go to them maybe at the end of the week. They sometimes cook nice food, you can talk to them in your own language. So that's a great relief after a hectic week. The other two things I would like to mention is a depression and anxiety, but it's not only international PGR, it's a part of like a PhD life. PhD life is not a bed of roses, it's a very roller coaster. Sometimes you'll feel very good, sometimes you'll feel like really, really very negative. And especially if you are like end of your PhD, you have done the same work for the last 3-4 years, you'll be very tired. But my supervisor always says it's a super long tunnel, but you will see the light at the end of the tunnel. So you have to be very hopeful. You have to keep going, and what you feel, but you have to finish your PhD. The best thing in this case, I would suggest to again go for some extracurricular activities. If you like hiking, biking, traveling, whatever, you can do that. You can make yourself engage to some social events that I was saying. You can do volunteering, and this kind of things, it might be make yourself more engaged with different kind of activities. You won't get much chance to feel alone. And still, if you are feeling like very sick and you are not feeling okay mentally or physically, you can probably contact this counseling service in Glasgow. And I know there is a thing called Nightlife. Mostly the Glasgow students, they run that. So if you are feeling very lonely at the end of a long day, and if you want to talk to them, you can give them a call, and they are very useful. The other one is a time difference. Yes, that's a big thing because in India we don't have this daylight saving concept. We have kind of a same time throughout the year, but here you will see different time in the winter and in the summer. So sometimes nowadays when I come back from office, whole India is kind of sleeping, so I don't get the chance to talk to them. So you have to make an adjustment in between your work schedule to talk to your family and friends. The other one is the immigration procedure. So that I'm gonna say, like, when I came here, I was like waiting for my visa for 2.5 months. It was really painful, but I can assure you at the end of the day you're gonna get your visa. It can take long, but you will get that. So, and there are a few restrictions what you can do, what you cannot. So I think the best thing is to, if you're not sure, just contact these registry people. They are gonna help you with anything related to tier 4 visa. Okay, so the next slide is about the financial challenges. I know many PGR, they are self-funded. So who are self-funded, they have a big burden of paying the tuition fees, your living expenses, for your food and for everything. And even for those who are funded, it's still a bit difficult sometimes at the end of the month when you are kind of run out of money. So I think it's always good to have a plan, what you earn and how much you spend. There should be a good balance between these two, and you will get more habituated as you stay here. And to make money, you can work outside your research, but make sure what you are allowed to do that, because I think we can work 20 hours per week. But sometimes if you really work for some other companies, like some big chains, they really don't care about your research. They only care about how much work you are doing for them. It can be very hard and it can be very draining. So at the end of the day, you might not get enough time to think about your research. So be very careful what kind of work you are doing. So I think the best I can suggest is work for your department as a tutor or a demonstrator, or in the library, because these people are very nice and they know like how much workload you should take as a PGR, because you have your own research at the end of the day. And you can look for the internship. But I would like to share my personal experience. Last year, I applied for an internship, and then I realized that my visa doesn't allow me to do that internship because there is a restriction. So it's best to check with these people, like if it's really good for you or not, if your visa allows you or not. And if you are still struggling with finances, you can contact this student well-being team. They are very happy to help you with any kind of challenges. The fourth one is the academic differences. Yes, there is a big academic differences from my own country and here. So when I was doing the coursework as a mandatory coursework part of my PhD, in the first few years, I was really struggling with some courses. But I realized the people here are very helpful. So if you really don't understand anything, and if you just go to them and say, hey, I don't understand that, can you help me? They will be really happy to help you. And they really want you to complete your PhD. Their purpose is not to let you suffer on something. So yeah, that's what I said. And everything in every department, I think they have some orientation classes where they really guide you through that. And still you need any extra support for your writing, for writing grants or any academic writing, I think the best thing is to contact your school. In School of Science and Engineering, they have a support for those. And I know in library, you can pop into the library people and they can help you. They are very senior people, academic. They are very helpful for academic writing. You can go there. And last but not the least, I really don't want to talk about discrimination because it's not a nice thing, but that's kind of a part, I should say. So discrimination can come because of different nationality, ethnicity, or gender. It has different forms. Sometimes you will feel a bit excluded from the social activity. Sometimes you might feel like someone is harassing you just because you are from a different part of the world, or maybe an unfair treatment in the academic or professional settings. So in that case, if you feel you are facing any of those, the best thing is to contact Equality and Diversity Officer, and or maybe you can contact the Student Representative Council, SRC. I used to be volunteer for them. for first year of my PhD. I know these people are very helpful, so I've added their link here. You can contact them and you will be completely anonymous. So it is really beneficial if you are really struggling with this kind of problem. University of Glasgow is really trying to make fair policies for everyone. So they will look into it and they will definitely solve your problem. And last but not the least, we all know that home is where our heart is, right? Thank you. That's the end of slide for today.